Welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer show. This is a show where we talk about stuff, play you some music, and encourage you to be creative. This season, we are exploring the art of being human. We want to say thank you to our patrons who support us each month. If you want to know more about that, visit us on patreon.com/Chasing Ebenezer. For more information about our musical endeavors, visit chasingebenezer.com. We hope you enjoy the show.
Sup?
Hey.
I think I'm too old. I just dated myself.
I don't know. I think
I dated myself by like 20, 25 years. I don't know.
You know, I remember being a teenager and being videotaped, which, you know, back when
that
I
was
was,
such a big deal.
That was a big deal. And I remember trying to be cool and saying sup. Oh. And when I saw it on video, I was like, no, that's not, that word's not for me. That word's not for me.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer show. This is episode 50 of the...
50.
Wait, is this our third season?
Third season, yep.
Episode 50. We only have a few episodes left, so hey, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for hanging out. And we do have some exciting things with season 4 planned, so
You have some big
I do.
plans.
I have some big plans.
We'll see if the plans work out.
So I'm not communicating about said plans yet until we have a sustainable vision mapped out.
Yeah, we don't want to be disappointed.
No. I want to say a big thank you to our patrons. Whether you are a current patron, a former patron, a free patron, a paying patron.
Thank you.
All of the patrons. Thank you.
And we're going to give a big shout out in the 52nd episode. You're going to hear your name.
You're going to hear your name.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
I'm Heidi. This is Benjamin, by the way.
Yeah, those are our names.
We don't care. It doesn't matter. You guys are what matters.
Yeah.
Okay, we're excited about what?
What are we excited about?
What are you
I'm excited.
about?
Okay. I'm
Because
excited.
I'm excited about hearing this, so it's a double duty excitement.
I inherited from my mom. My mom they're moving, and she said, "Well, I'm getting rid of a bunch of stuff."
Who's Mr. Tumnus that I know?
Do you want my native flutes? And I said, yes. I might have said more than yes. And so you'll notice back here, there's a whole bunch of them. And I've got one here. My cat, I think it's this one.
I think they like it.
It might have been this one. Well,
I think they like it. I don't know if they know what to do
watch
with it.
Watch me totally squawk on it.
Go for it. Go for it. Let's... That was really nice. It sounds in here like it sounds really nice. Yeah, it kind of like echoes nice in here.
Yeah,
Good job,
yeah.
man.
So super fun.
Good job. I'm impressed that you've learned those so quickly.
I'm excited about using
really
those
impressed.
in our recordings, instrumental recordings, and just to annoy my cats with. It's super fun. Yeah. What about you? What are you excited about?
I already said.
Oh, about hearing. What a cheater! Really?
No, I'm not a cheater. You should be like, wow, I'm glad that my wife thinks I'm so awesome and she's excited about me playing the flute. That's what would have been a nice response. Like, oh.
Hold on, let me read.
Nope,
retake
sorry,
that. Okay.
the moment
has passed.
So.
Well, then how are you feeling your humanity?
I think my body is sensing things, and like I think I'm just so discombobulated because of the snow. Like I keep forgetting what day it is. I just feel off, and what is so funny?
I love because the word is discombobulated, and we've gotten so used to saying it discombobulated.
I know exactly what I'm saying.
Oh, you do? I thought. Oh,
I know that the technical dictionary word is discombobulated, but I'm an artist.
Carry on. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
My fault.
Don't get me more discombobulated than I already am. So yeah, and I think then. My body is probably like sensing that it's like almost 4 years since my mom died. I think I think last year someone was mentioning around this time that is when the pandemic started. So it's kind of like maybe our bodies are like gearing up and we're not even aware of it. So
Sure.
I just feel a little bit off.
Yeah.
So, but I'm aware that I feel off.
Yeah, I'm going to pretty much piggyback off that and say the same thing.
So you're going to use mine. Oh, that's so nice that you think that I had a great idea.
You just inspire me. What can I say? Yeah, because we've had some recent ice and snow in Portland, and if you live in Portland,
or the world,
we don't handle that very well. So it's reminding me of the early days of the pandemic.
It totally felt like,
but it was the good kind, where it felt like summer vacation.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna have a vacation for a month.
Yeah, and if you're an introvert like me, you did not mind lockdown most of the time. So we've been locked down for the past several weeks, and now that things have changed, my body's like, wait, I was in rest mode.
Yeah, exactly.
And now I'm going to get into this mode. And so I've had a lot of anxiety. I've just noticed it, especially in the past couple of days, kick up quite a bit.
Yep, you feel discombobulated.
I'm pretty discombobulated. But anyway, I guess that just means we're human.
I'm glad that amuses us. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the aspect of humanity of being like fragile beings.
Okay, so when you think of the word fragile as it relates to humanity, like, what do you mean? This was your idea, so it was a great idea.
My idea?
Yeah, you said, "What about fragility?" I'm like,
what
yes,
a great idea.
I think that's a really good idea.
Well, the first thing that might come to mind is A Christmas Story.
Yeah, I've thought about that multiple times.
Which, the more and more I think about the genius of fragile being on the side of the lamp box, really just that fragile nature of the dad, that something like this lamp, this major award, could so deeply. I don't know the writer's intent, but the more and more it's like, that word to me describes that dear sweet man with all the bravado, but deep down this really tender heart, more than the lamp. So that's
good. Yeah.
So I think that when we're speaking about being fragile, there's the part of us that we can't control. And then there's is kind of like, we can't control that if I'm shot through the heart, I'm probably going to die. Like, our bodies, we're not like...
We're not invincible.
Invincible. Right. And then there's other parts of being fragile, like our personality, and some of us, I think, are more sensitive than others. Situations, and sometimes depending on our mood or a situation. So I guess there's vulnerable. We can be vulnerable.
Vulnerable is another word for it.
And sometimes we are vulnerable whether we want to be or not, and sometimes we choose. Like, when we're honest, that's a choice to be vulnerable.
Sure.
So it's like there's some personal choice, and then there's some, like, just the nature of being a human being.
Well, when you mention A Christmas Story, what I thought about as you were talking about being fragile, I'm trying to say it correctly, because now that you're talking about
you want to say fragile?
Yeah, I do. But the idea is, especially for the dad, that small thing made him feel deeply loved. And if you remember the scene when it got broken by accident,
right,
it was such a small thing to devastate him.
Yeah, right.
So with that in mind, then, like, what situations devastate you versus what situations make you feel deeply loved? And everyone's different with this. Be thinking about that yourself.
Well, I think when I was a kid, it would be more like toys breaking, those kind of things. But at the end of the day, I think it's if it involves people. Like, if it involves people, or if it triggers fear, like of, am I going to be able to pay my bills? Those kind of things. And yet, have you ever had a day where all these bad things happen, all these things, and then you drop your plate at dinner and it crashes to the floor and your meal's ruined? Kind of like the lamp, life is so much, and we handle all these things. And by handle, we just keep going.
Right.
We keep going.
We're like, I'm not going to let this erupt. I'm not going to let it erupt.
Or I don't have time to process it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that dinner plate, the lamb, falls.
Or your husband buys, golden ale.
Okay, look.
Are we going to talk about this story?
We certainly are. Okay. I try not to drink a lot.
You don't. I think you're very good.
But once in a while, there's I really just, and I never drank beer for a couple, it's only been the last few years.
It was the pandemic that brought it out.
Well, and I was all day looking forward to having a beer. And you went out, I think I was, well, not all day, but you went out and the beer you brought home.
We're not going to say what it was.
We won't say it because we don't want to hurt this company. We like most of their beers, but this one, and it was so disappointing. It was... Yeah, it was the most disappointing glass of beer I'd ever had, and I'd been so disappointed. It was just like that one thing. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, but that was just enough. So I don't know. It probably just says how immature I am.
No, I was going to say immature because we've all had these moments. We've all had these moments. Yeah, I know for me what does it is when something in my technology doesn't work.
It breaks your brain.
My brain breaks. I feel shut down. I feel like I can't move on until I have this figured out. And that's really bad if it happens during a live show.
Oh, yeah, true.
So,
but sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it.
Right.
There's nothing your will, your hard work, and that's kind of where our limitations and then that leaves us vulnerable.
Right.
That leaves us feeling like, oh, what are people going to think about me? Do I act like there's nothing wrong? Do I open up and just say, hey, there's a problem?
Well, I thought of another one.
Oh, okay.
Since we're all being honest here. When I spill things.
Well, yeah, I was. You were not excluded from that dinner plate spill analogy.
No. But it doesn't even matter if I'm stuffing everything else. Like if I spill, I have a rage response. It's one of the few times that I do.
Well, your rage is like most people's. Yeah, so
most people's irritated.
Right,
I know.
Right.
So if I'm irritated, he's really mad.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, oh my gosh, when that happens, I feel like, it happened. Did it happen yesterday that I spilled off the?
You didn't. Yeah, our washing machine is beveled and versus
which is a word I didn't know until yesterday.
I like that word beveled. It's a very cool word.
Beveled.
So he had it. It was running, and you set your coffee cup on top, and it just slid off. And
I was already feeling fragile at the time because I was having a bad day yesterday, and I put it on top, and I'm like. And the next thing I know, and it wasn't like one of those slight, oh, whoops, it spilled. It was like blood splattered all over the house. It was like it was on the ceiling, it was on the floor, it was in the wall.
It was everywhere.
But I kept it cool. I kept it.
You did.
I kept it under
and
control.
I helped you clean it up.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
But I think when we're fragile, when we're vulnerable, we're open to hurt, to pain. We are able to be hurt.
Yeah. Well, what about when you're open to love, though? Because it goes both ways, right?
Bam! That was a deep insight. I give you 10,000 bonus points.
Cool.
Yeah, that didn't sound very excited about my bonus points.
I'm so excited
my bonus points are a big deal. I don't just doll out bonus points.
You don't doll out compliments. You don't. I mean, you're.
I do if I mean it.
You're not. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, I'm a genuine.
I don't think you're a withholder.
I'm a genuine.
So.
I'm a genuine praise giver.
So what are the little things that make you feel loved, even though you may be vulnerable?
I think that I am become so aware of just the beauty of a sky, like the sky. And it'll move me to tears sometimes how gorgeous the sky is because there's so many problems in the world. And then I'll just, especially like in sunrise or sunset, I'll like step out and it'll catch me by surprise if you're just not, if you're not aware of what's going on outside.
Sure.
And then it'll just arrest me and then it's like, wow, but look at that. And look at how big that is, and you are so small, and there's this God that created all this, and it just kind of puts, it's like when you stand in front of the ocean too, you just feel so small, but not in an unseen way, but like, oh wow, there's so much beauty out there. And but if I'm rushing or not open to it, and so there's that, and then there's like expressing need to people. You don't want to. I usually don't want to express need, but often when I do, in general, usually people respond so kindly and graciously. Yeah. Not always, okay, but if we don't share, then you're robbing people of the opportunity to come alongside and have a community help strengthen you where you're weak.
Yeah, that's
What's
really good.
Your answer?
Well, my answer was, you gave a really big answer, which was great.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I should give myself 10,000 bonus points.
Yes, you should. You should, and it's a big deal. What comes into mind to me is something that we do in our house church, which is when somebody has a birthday, and this I'm going to connect it to two different thoughts.
Ooh, two.
When someone has a birthday, what we do is with the person in the room, we go around and we say what we love and admire about them. And if you've ever been on the receiving end of that, you feel very fragile, you feel very vulnerable, you feel very focused on.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. The worst part is the awkward silence that precedes the first person saying something. But there's that, and then the other side of it, and this is something we do in our group, is if someone is really having a bad time, they can ask, "Can it be my birthday today?" Basically,
it's my unbirthday.
Yeah. And so so that idea of asking someone to say nice things about you.
It's vulnerable.
You're fragile. Yeah.
Or just And this didn't start with us. This is something that our friends did before us and taught us. So I think right there, so we don't forget, that would be a great art prompt. It's whether it's in your family, in your workplace, when you just take the time to say what you appreciate about someone and how you've seen them grow, and to strengthen them with words, with courage, it can really change a community and change a person's day and their whole week. So be creative and be on the lookout for who you can really bless with your words. It is awesome. Yeah. Say nice things about me. You can say nice things about me.
When we're talking about fragility, how does that relate to art and creativity?
Well, it's almost a requirement for true, genuine art, because otherwise, if you're not truly opening up what's in your heart to share with other people, then it can be very basic or very general. And I think too, that doesn't mean that general things aren't beautiful and good, but for growth. I was in a writer's group for a while, and Rex Moody, who is an amazing critiquer,
writer, funny guy,
great writer, great critiquer. He was, I'm going to probably butcher it, so what he was explaining, but he was kind of explaining, especially like in memoir writing, if you're not truly open and specific and honest in your writing, it's kind of like inviting someone into your home, but not allowing them to see the rooms. Like, kind of like that foyer level front room, but all these other rooms are off limits. When you're not open and digging kind of deep in your art, and then it can make a person feel like, wait, they're sharing me a little bit, but I know they're holding back. So there's a fine line of how, and each person has to decide how vulnerable they want to be and what they're sharing. But it was just that way of looking at it about, because usually it starts with me alone too, like me alone, being honest with myself, and that can be really hard because it's vulnerable. It's a fragile place to be in.
Well, and I think that if you're a person who takes in art, and I don't want to say this about everybody, but you can usually tell the difference between a product
Yeah,
you know,
right,
because
right.
there's a bunch of songs out there that, okay, technically they're art, but I don't know how much vulnerability went into the writing of that, and that would be between that artist and them to figure out. But sometimes we can get so, I know I can, let me say me. I'm gonna use me statements here, that I can be so big into wanting to make sure I get as many songs out there as possible and keep cranking out songs.
Yeah.
And what I have found, because I mean, I there's plenty of really great songwriting coaches and formulas that work. But what I found for myself, occasionally those formulas work. Like when I wrote Salinas, that was a formula and it worked. But if the song does not involve a piece of me where I have to actually go in there, I feel, I don't know, it feels very empty. Yeah.
And yet you have to be, and where the vulnerability, the fragility comes in, is that some people are not going to like it and they're going to let you know. Or people will critique art as if there was no maker behind it.
Yeah, that's good.
And so, it's good. I honestly, and it's probably something I need to get over, but I kind of stopped reading books on Goodreads unless they were 5. I don't know. I just started thinking about the writer behind it and that someone made it. And so I don't know. I'm a reluctant rater. And not
no
to
judgment
say,
on anyone.
No,
who is.
absolutely not. Just for me, I've taken a step back because I know that people who, anytime you're sharing something, it's a vulnerability thing. So I'm just a little bit more reluctant right now to provide negative feedback unless it's been solicited. So
right. And so, yeah, I think that's a really, those things are really big pieces of fragility when it comes to art making. The other thing, though, and this is something I observed in myself yesterday, was accepting limitation, because, we're not robots. We're not robots. Nope. And I'm not getting into the whole AI discussion about creativity. We're just going to stay off that. But a robot or a machine just kind of goes and goes and goes
then
and goes
on feelings, an
you
ending capacity, yeah.
But one of the things I was realizing yesterday, because I had a day where I was doing a lot of administrative stuff. I got to teach students, which was really fun, and I got done, and I was like, because I had these plans, I'm gonna work on music, and all of a sudden I just couldn't do it. I just had, this energy was gone, and what can happen when that energy is depleted? Sometimes you got to push through it, and once you get going, you'll But sometimes though, it's okay to stop.
Pay attention to what your body's telling. You kind of got to be honest with your body. Okay, is this what's your gut telling you?
Right.
Do I need to work through this, or is this my body saying you're done?
Exactly.
You're done.
Exactly. Yeah. So and yesterday I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not getting off this couch. And I probably won't feel better until I sleep. And I did. I felt better when I woke up. What about prompts? You already gave one. What are some other prompts for fragility?
Well, I love the art of mosaic, and so not that I really do it, but I love to look at them. So mosaics come from broken pieces. So whether you have broken stuff laying around, or go to a thrift store and just break up some stuff. It might feel really good, and then make a mosaic.
That's a good one.
That might be a great one.
And another way, it could be collage, because collages are part of that too, because you're going through various things.
Yeah, totally.
And you're cutting stuff up.
Ripping up old stuff. I really like those, the clothing or the blankets too, made from old pieces of other clothing. So that can just be a great visual reminder that just because things can be broken doesn't mean they can't be remade.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounded
deep.
really deep. I'm going to give myself 12,000 bonus points for that.
So we're ahead for that. You're ahead. It's 22,000 to 10,000.
Oh, well, I'm going to give you 20,000 bonus points for just being so handsome and fine. So there you go.
And I'm going to give you 5,000 more for being no, we're going to stop.
They're my bonus points.
Yeah, that's true.
I give the bonus points.
Another prompt might be for you to actually, because part of art is knowing yourself and to pay attention. Pay attention during the week. What are the things that break your brain? What are the things that make you feel small and amazed? And kind of just document that. Keep track of it. And then maybe even create from those moments.
If you've never been through Brené Brown book, isn't it The Gifts of Vulnerability? Is that the right
It's
title?
one of them.
Is that the correct title? I know she has many.
I instantly
but
associate Brené Brown with vulnerability.
Pretty much anything by Brené Brown would work. So maybe pick one of her books. But The Gifts of Vulnerability, I believe, is the correct title. You could go through that if you haven't done that before. You could even maybe start your own book club. One other person, you got a book club. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. So the song that we're going to do is a song I made about a month ago. It's an instrumental piece. It's called "Buried in Snow."
That would be fragile.
Which is what we've been past couple weeks. So I'm just gonna have that play for you. Hope you enjoy. Maybe find a quiet place just to sit and be with the song. I love ambient music because it requires me to be still, and it requires me to appreciate, but not try to be impressed. Because I love making music that's got really cool stuff in it. But sometimes when something is just subtle and calm, that's what my soul needs. And maybe that's what your soul needs too. So anyway, we love you. We're grateful for you. And we'll see you in the next episode.